Okay, so you're thinking about maybe jumping into this Mishal Megamart IPO. Huh.
It sounds like it.
Smart move.
Yeah.
But before you do, we really got to, we
Yeah.
got to break this down.
Deep
We're going to
dive.
deep dive into this research,
Absolutely.
uncover all those little things you might miss that could really, make or break your investment.
For sure. For sure.
So for anyone out there who maybe hasn't heard of them, Vishal Megamart, they go by VMML,
Mm-hmm.
they're doing some really interesting things with value retail,
Interesting.
particularly like tier 2 cities and beyond.
Right, right.
They've really got that middle and lower middle class market figured out, haven't they?
Yeah, they're really hitting that sweet spot.
So the research we have here today really dives deep into whether or not this IPO is going to be a good investment or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's got me thinking.
Yeah.
Should you subscribe to this?
Well, it's there's a lot to unpack. There are
Mhm.
definitely some things to think about. One of the most interesting things is that this whole IPO is what's called an offer for sale.
Okay.
Imagine like you're buying a used car, right? But
Yeah.
you're not buying it from the dealer. You're buying it from someone who already owns it.
I see.
That's kind of what this IPO is. Like you're buying shares from existing investors, not putting money directly into the growth of VMML itself.
Okay.
So that's a big question to ask yourself right off the bat.
Yeah.
Why are these early investors deciding to cash out now?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah,
It adds another layer to this whole thing, doesn't it?
it does. It does.
Now, the source also mentions this healthy store expansion.
Right.
But what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Are we talking about are they moving into new territories, or are they just kind of like
Right. Are they just getting bigger?
beefing up what they already have?
It's probably a mix of both, to be honest.
Right.
But the source really emphasizes this thing called SSG,
That's us issue.
same-store sales growth. This is huge in retail because it's basically like you're checking the pulse of your existing stores.
Okay.
It tells you how well those stores are doing without, all the excitement of new openings.
Right.
So if VMML is focused on keeping that SSSG strong, it tells me they have a strategy that's not just about growing really fast, but also about getting the most out of the stores they already have.
I see.
Makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And speaking of, making the most of what they got, this thing about increasing share of own brands
Oh, yes.
really caught my eye.
Interesting.
What's the strategy there?
So think about it like Costco
Okay.
and their Kirkland brand, right?
Yeah.
That's huge for them.
Right.
VMML is doing something similar. They're putting a lot of effort into products that they create and control themselves.
Gotcha.
Smart move for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
First, usually means better profit margins for them.
Right.
Second, it gives them way more control over quality and pricing, which is super important in that value market.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they got to keep things affordable.
Now, the source also mentions that VMML is trading at a discount to comparable peers.
Ah, yes, the valuation game.
Can you unpack that a little bit for us?
Sure. So basically, it means that compared to other similar retail companies, VMML stock is priced lower.
Interesting.
Now, to really understand this, you got to look at some key metrics that are used to value these retail companies.
Okay.
Things like the price to earnings ratio, the PE ratio,
Mm-hmm.
which basically compares the company's stock price to its earnings per share.
Right.
Another big one is the enterprise value to sales ratio, or EV sales.
Huh.
This one gives you a broader look at the company's value compared to its revenue.
I see.
So when they say VMML is trading at a discount, they mean these ratios are lower than their competitors.
Okay.
Now, that might seem like a good deal,
Yeah.
but you really have to dig deeper and figure out why are investors worried about something specific to VMML. Do your own research, compare VMML's financials with other recent retail IPOs to get the whole picture.
Okay, so the source is painting, pretty rosy picture,
Yeah, they seem pretty positive.
giving the IPO a thumbs up.
Big thumbs up.
But I'm curious what makes you hesitant about this.
Mm-hmm.
What are you seeing that maybe the source is overlooking?
Well, you always have to remember every investment comes with some risk, and IPOs are especially unpredictable.
Sure.
VMML is in a tough market. You got these online giants breathing down their neck.
For sure.
Plus, their success is really tied to how much people are spending, and that can change quickly if the economy takes a downturn.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And expanding into new areas while still making a profit, that's a tough balancing act for any retailer.
Yeah, it sounds like we really got to, we got to do our homework here.
Absolutely.
Dig into those financials, really understand who they're up against.
Yeah.
And probably most importantly, know how much risk we're comfortable with before we jump in.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, so one final thought from you.
Okay.
What's something our listeners should really think about when it comes to this VMML IPO?
Well, their whole thing is value, right?
Right.
But what happens if inflation keeps going up?
Yeah.
They're going to have to start cutting corners to keep those prices low.
Hmm.
And if they do, how's that going to affect how people see their brand?
Right.
Especially when they're up against these online giants with tons of money.
That's a really good point, something to think about.
Lots to consider.
All right, well, there you have it, folks.
Another deep dive.
VMML IPO. We broke it down for you.
We did.
Now it's up to you to do that extra research and decide if this one's right for you.
Smart investing, everyone.
Until next time, happy investing.
Tia.
Bye.
Bye.